happy Thursday. Good afternoon. You're very welcome along to today's live stream. Yes, we continue on with Navigraph Academy, learning things like, stall and a steep dive. Then a little bit later, we're going to progress and do some planning for tonight's VATSIM flight. We're going to be flying in the iFly 737 MAX as we leave Minneapolis and we head down to Denver in Colorado. Ooh. Yes, little bit later today, very productive morning. Right, the curtains have been hung, changed the air vent thingy, light is on the ceiling, changed the switch in the wall. Very progressive, flat out. This DIY crack now, I'm telling you. But you're all very welcome in. Any questions or issues you might be having with the sim, great time is now. If you've any questions, do drop them here into the chat. And it's an 8 degrees Tipperary, 8 degrees. And tomorrow's to be Burr, 3 degrees, and then Saturday's to be 6 degrees. So it's getting cold, lads. Getting colder all over again. But we've been working on these Navigraph lessons from Navigraph Academy, which is free, by the way. We've been working on these for the last few weeks, and this is our third part. And hopefully you're learning something. I'm certainly learning something, and they're very well put together. Haven't tried it yet with Sim Update 4, so let's see what happens. Also, we're going to be getting ready for next Tuesday night. We're going to be doing some Red Bull air racing over on the MSFS official live stream. Looking forward to that. And apart from that, lads, it's all systems go. Yes. I hope you're enjoying Sim Update 4, though. Hope the flying has been grand. And what have I been doing? Writing out aircraft I haven't flown in ages. It's like, I have all these planes, I haven't flown them. The CRJ, for example, right? I did a big list of them of things I want to kind of get flying soon. The Jag, or, Jag. Right, haven't flown the Jag in ages. So I'm going to start planning probably some more streams coming into Christmas. We might change up the schedule a little bit and do a couple of all-day streams. Why the devil not? We'll see how we get on. But today it's all about learning as we continue on with Navigraph Academy. You're all very welcome in. Spitfire RAF 100. First in, best dressed. Good afternoon. Nearly said good evening. Happy Thursday, buddy. Surly Dev, welcome in. Technically it's the afternoon, but I've only been out of bed 45 minutes. Coffee time. Now let me see. Call me Kai. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome aboard. Eamon 1973. Hope all is well. Soaring AJ. 90 streams in a row, man. Thank you very, very much indeed. Let me see here now. Willow, how much? Happy Thursday, indeed. Hope you're well, buddy. B. Carlo is here. Toto 2495. He's a day older, a day wiser. Good to see you, man. Who else come in? Malky Mack is here. Good morning, Malky. Or good afternoon. Jess. Cracker is in the house. Bell Bro. Hey, champions. Hope you're having a splendid day. You too, buddy. You too. Jimbo Stream. Good afternoon to you. PH Roy is here. Roy, hope all is well. Happy Thursday. North Coast Mike, hope all is well. Commander Balosh is here. 35 streams in a row. Thank you very, very much indeed. Mini Maverick, good day to you. Filthy is here. He says, I don't have to work tomorrow, so I get 2 Fridays this week. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Heisenberg, top of the morning. He says, I couldn't sleep anymore, so here I am. Ha. Good to see you, man. Hope you're keeping well. Let me see. Yesterday, there was a big Aurora Borealis in the sim. It looked awesome. I was looking at it, Roy. Amazing pictures. Do I stream on other platforms, asks Mini Maverick. Yes, we're live on Twitch and on YouTube. We've 2 streams on YouTube. One is what you see, and then the other is a vertical stream for those on mobile who can, so we have a couple of streams going. Sir Camsalot, AJH Madude. I hope you're very well, buddy. Kubi Montana, top of the morning to you. Hope all is well. The multi-streaming, I tried, I was going to stream a bit on Kick, but so I said, right, we'll just do a vertical stream on YouTube along with the other stream, plus, Twitch is our home. So that's where we stream, you see. But it's all go, lads. So we're going to progress here with this next lesson. Now, stalls, right, they get you into all sorts of trouble, and it's knowing what to do to avoid them. Or, worst case scenario, if you do encounter a stall, well, how do we regain control of the aircraft? How do we unstall the machine? And then we're also going to look at steep dives. So when you stall, to recover the stall, you need to get airspeed over the wing, right? And there's a couple of ways in which we can do this. But from a training perspective, this is trained in the real world. They tend not to go near spins quite as much these days. Back in the day, they did. Depends on the aircraft, of course. So if you do a stall and then they throw it into a spin, you'll see your breakfast again the next day. It can be quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Navigraph are going to teach us about this. DJ Seamus, hope you're well, buddy. And then, of course, our flight tonight, the 737 MAX. I'm going to take it out for a jaunt in Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. I haven't done that yet. So looking forward to this flight tonight for sure. And I haven't flown the 73 in quite some time as well. So yeah, this is it's a bit of how does this work? Do you know what I mean? So that's what we'll kind of see what happens. Do you know? So I'll press a button here. My lights are back working, brilliant. And then we'll go over here, look. And we'll start over. Summoner, hope you're well. Howdy, Murph from Naples in Florida. You're very welcome aboard, man. The crazy man from Ireland, top of the afternoon to you. You're looking well. And you're very welcome aboard. So what do we have? Here we are in the main menu. And we'll go into Navigraph here now in a moment. So let us bring it onto the main screen. So this is what we're going to be focusing on today. Of our 14 ground school lessons, well, we're still working on things. So if we go to our course catalogue, and we're still in the virtual PPL, Navigraph are going to be adding the instrument and IF4 stuff a little bit later on. But we certainly have enough here to kind of get us up and running, you see. Or at least that's the hope. So we're going to resume our PPL. And a couple of the lessons we've done thus far: introduction and aircraft familiarization, the effects on the controls of the aircraft, level flight and turns we did last week, along with our climbs and descents. And that's all about climbing, power off, what happens. You have this yaw effect. How do we counter the yaw? Use of rudder pedals. So as a pilot, you're constantly thinking of, for every action you do, what is the reaction? We need to plan for that. Within reason. Aircraft today, they're becoming more stable, autopilot, yaw dampeners, you have all this stuff going on. But once you know the basics, it will get you out of trouble if you ever encounter it. So today, it's all about stalls and and dive to max speed. So we're going to be pushing the Cessna fairly much to the corner of its flight envelope. So lesson 5, we're going to take the airplane to both ends of its performance envelopes. We're going to experience a high-speed dive to reach maximum allowable speed. And remember, we're talking all about V speeds, VNE, V1, V2, all the V speeds. That's what they're made reference to when it comes to aircraft and, in aviation, your speed, right? So you'd have never exceed, minimum speed, stall speed, and all the jazz, right? So we'll experience a high-speed dive to reach maximum allowable airspeed, and then a stall where the aircraft almost stops flying. By the end of the lesson, we'll understand how to handle the aircraft at its limits and how to recover safely from these conditions. So a stall, well, the wing will stall, you'll drop, you're going to lose altitude, right? You get what's called a stall buffet. That's what the whole airframe will shake, right? Particularly from the wing. And the controls get really kind of loosened up. The real kind of, what's the best way to kind of say it? The reel's kind of spongy. They don't respond very well at low speed. The opposite to that is very high speed, whereby control inputs, minimal amount of input will actually give you a lot of deflection. But the worry and the risk at high speed is, well, you're going to pass the safety limit of the aircraft, as in its structural integrity. If you go any faster, you're going to cause structural damage to the aircraft itself. So, when you look at your speedometer or your airspeed indicator, that'll have various different colors. You'll have the red, the orange, the green, and you might even then go yellow, and then you have red again, right? The yellow is very much maximum permissible speed. But in the real world, you could be saying, okay, I'm going to fly this aircraft at 120 knots because, maximum speed or don't exceed is like 140. But you need to consider then, well, what's the wind, the airspeed doing to your aircraft? If you're flying into a headwind of, say, 50 knots. Now, a Cessna won't do that, but let's say you're flying into 50 knots and your current indicated airspeed is, say, 130. well, there's a lot more air and velocity hitting that aircraft than what you would think. So we need to take all this into consideration. Even though our instruments are saying, well, this is our speed, well, we need to allow for, well, what's the additional speed coming in, right? So we'll get into all this now. Voicey, good to see you. Mac Vision is here. Mrs. TPHI is upside down. You're very welcome aboard. Local Aviator, good day to you, sir. Stu Snape, hope you're well, buddy. But yes, who else is here? Roger Bram. Good to see you. Or Roger Abram, I beg your pardon. He says, good day from Kentucky. Hello from Tipperary. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Do not fly. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome in, Raiders. Hope you had an awesome stream. We're just about to get started with some Navigraph Academy. You're very welcome in. And well, thank you very much indeed for the raid. Hope you had a great stream, buddy. And welcome. So we'll move on. So safely pushing the limits. So we can, safely push the limits. Think of stalls as your gateway to advanced flying. Now, this is something I've said, a lot. If you want to learn the handling characteristics of your aircraft, always try to fly it at the lowest possible speed, right? If you can condition yourself to be able to maintain control at the lowest possible speed of the aircraft, it will tell you a thing or two about the flight model. Plus, that sort of experience at low speed will stand to you when it comes to flying it much faster. Right. So if you ever want to learn how an airplane flies, fly it slow, especially when it comes to the simulator. Fly them slow, which is kind of counter to what we usually just hop in and stick it on cruise and away we go. Fly the thing as slow as you possibly can. You will learn more about the flight characteristics of the flight model at low speed than you will at high speed, you see. But anyway, a stall occurs when the wings reach their maximum lifting capability, right? Meaning that when you stall, they can't lift anymore. From the stall onwards, any further increase in pitch or angle of attack actually reduces lift. In this lesson, we're going to explore both incipient and fully developed stalls, and we're going to show you how to recover from each. By mastering stalls, you'll turn a potential hazard into a controlled maneuver. Right? Goose, good to see you, buddy. Your PC is fixed now. Water pump was shagged. Oh, Jesus. Surly Dev, hope all is well, buddy. Crafty Tigers, good to see you. It's like driving a car fast in snow and ice on a car park. You learn learn how to skid. Yeah, it's a great way to put it. Yeah, you will learn more about adverse driving. In a big open car park when there's ice, because you'll feel this. You'll feel skids and slides and all this sort of stuff, right? So, incipient versus fully developed stall. When the aircraft is on the edge of stalling, but still producing lift, usually you'll hear the stall horn kind of shouting at you. It's what's called an incipient stall. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You'll notice the plane becoming less responsive to small control inputs. This is where they all get kind of soupy. Soupy's a great way to say it. It's all kind of, it's lost its responsiveness, right? An oral stall warning may sound, depending on the aircraft, and you might feel buffeting through the airframe. Now, buffeting is if you're sitting down now on an office chair with your hands on the arms, start shaking the thing like mad, and that's buffeting. You get the same feel of effect in the plane, right? It's like a car. If you're driving in a car, do you know when you ever stall a car, you know that shake just before it stalls? That's a buffet, right? Very similar to that. So where are we at? At this stage, the aircraft is beginning to descend, but it is still controllable. And you can actually fly the aircraft right on the limit. We've done this already in our stall course. You're able to maintain control of the aircraft, even though that stall warn is sounding. You're right on the limit of the envelope, right? And every aircraft is going to be different. The environment will play its part. If there's any lifting equipment built into the airframe itself, like flaps or slats and all this sort of stuff, all of that it changes from aircraft to aircraft, right? Recovery is straightforward. Lower or reduce the angle of attack. So what they mean by angle of attack, right? It's how much angle of the aircraft is pushed into the air it's moving towards. Angle of attack, right? So you're not actually attacking anything, although technically it is attacking the air. But anyway, what we do is we lower the angle of attack. Effectively, we pitch the nose down, point the nose down, right? I have a plane here I can show you, look. Here's a guy who has models. So if you're to look at the AN225, right? When it's flying straight and level, Well, there's relatively no level of angle of attack. When we pitch up like this, the airflow is now hitting underneath. Hence, we have a higher angle of attack. So what happens is, as we're climbing upwards, the rate in which it climbs will eventually drop off. And then the aircraft, instead of climbing straight up, well, it's actually coming across like that. You see? Very, very technical things we do here in this stream. It's like calling your missus by another name. Brace, brace, brace. Dazza, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. Now put that in so it doesn't fall. So that's what they mean by angle of attack. So how do we fix that? Well, we push the nose down. And the idea being is we want more airspeed over the wings, and then they will start once again to generate some lift. Right. So recovery is straightforward. Lower the angle of attack by pitching down while adding thrust. Add more power, right, to regain normal flight. Now, it always kills me when I see comments on YouTube videos. Oh, this agent doesn't know how to stall you. Applied power. Right, as sim pilots, you know, you could say you shouldn't apply power when you're pitching down because you're doing a stall recovery. It depends an awful lot. When I've done stall recovery, I was told, no, you add power initially and then you back it off a bit when you see the speed starting to come up. It's a balancing act. So you would apply a small bit of power, right? But it all depends on how much of a dive you're going to do in order to recover it, right? But I'd always find, it cracks me up. It's like, this agent doesn't know what he's doing. You don't apply power in a stall. I'm not going flying with you, Chief, right? It depends on the circumstances. But Northern Aviation says, I was taught nose down, power in for PPL. Same. In a Boxman is here. Good to see you. And then he resubscribed for 20 months. Jesus. Thank you very, very much indeed. In a Boxman. You're very kind, sir. Very kind. Stavara says, dive, fall, it's all the same when you hit the ground. True, very true. Well, a dive is different because, I mean, you've intended to do that. Your stall is a reaction of losing lift, do you know? But anyway, a fully developed stall occurs when the wings have lost nearly all lift and the airflow has separated completely. The aircraft may lose stability and risk entering a spin. Now, what they mean by that is the aircraft might lose stability. Some airframes are built to be more stable than others. Typically in a stall, what might happen is the wing will drop. As in, you're pitched up, and before you know it, a wing will dip on you. It'll just drop because the wing will stall first, right? Or that part of the wing will stall first. Other aircraft have been designed specifically so that the airframe doesn't allow it to, drop the wing. So it's actually, some people, again, in the sim, you're going to try and stall an aircraft. It stalls. You're like, oh, this is crap. The wing should have dipped. No, it may not. It depends on the airframe. All right. The wing doesn't always drop to one side. Right. Sometimes it does, but it depends on the airframe. Now, the risk is if that does happen, if a wing drops, we go back to what we've already learned. We worry about the yaw effect. We worry about, the slipstream, because that could now force your aircraft into a spin. Now, you can do controlled spins, but then you have uncontrolled spins, and then you have spin recovery, where you have to do a lot of dancing on the rudder pedals, a lot of effective use of power, and then see where you're at when it comes to your controls. Usually, you would let go of the controls and let the aircraft recover itself, but they're not going into spins as such. It's especially dangerous at low altitudes. Immediate recovery is essential. Pitch down, apply power, and level the wings to regain control before the situation can spiral out of hand. Right? Are we happy enough with that? So if we're in a fully developed stall, the recovery, pitch down, apply power, thrust, right? And level the wings to regain control before the situation can spiral out of hand. Right. So there we have it. You don't do that if you're in a jet. Forget the jets for the minute, though. Jets are different power units, different aerodynamics, and a lot of times the sizes of them, right? Specifically with a Cessna, right? Also, it depends on the jets, and that's kind of where the world is going to now as well. A lot of aircraft are designed to have these anti-stall features. We've seen it in the M500, right? The Piper Meridian, that has that feature built into it, as does the Vision Jet. If it does detect a stall, it auto levels, and it'll take itself out of the stall, which is all the new technology and safety measures, if you like, being applied. But yeah, jets will be slightly different. Turboprops, twin props, right? Twin engine operations, slightly different. There's all going to be differences as you move through different aircraft, but the principles remain the same. The principles remain the same, i.e. the aircraft is stalled because the wings have lost lift. They're no longer generating lift. You apply that logic to every other aircraft, but then specifically there are certain recoveries or procedures, emergency procedures, that you would do to counter that issue. Fair enough? Right. So, here is your incipient stall versus your fully developed stall. Can you see the difference? The angle of attack is way different here in both pictures. All right. So the incipient stall is you can still maintain control, i.e. you can keep the wings level. You have a small bit of input. Controls will feel a lot softer, null, right? It's like there's dead zones gone in there, but you still have a little bit of control, bit of rudder in there as well. A fully developed stall, that's where you will lose control. You no longer have the ability, you're trying to move the aircraft, it's just not responding, right? Naughty Gnome, 60 months, man. Jesus, thank you very, very much indeed. Good to see you, buddy. Hermit Something, good morning. Hope you're well. You're very welcome in. Stone says, I mainly fly in DCS, though. Military jets are different is what I mean. Yeah, no, 100%. The same principle applies, right? Jesus, there's buttons. Sim Guy, thank you very much indeed. Gifting a tier 1 sub. Thank you very, very much indeed. As you learn different aircraft and as you learn different airfoil, as in the wing, the shape of the wing, the power plant, center of gravity, it'll change from aircraft to aircraft. And, what Stone is saying when it comes to flying on DCS, military jets, most of them, especially fighters, right? By their design, they are designed to be aerodynamically unstable. Something like a Cessna or a Piper, these are designed to be aerodynamically stable, right? Unless you're in like the Tomahawk, the PA-34, that thing was designed to spin. But like a lot of the general aviation, civilian aircraft, they are designed to be very, very stable at cruise speed. Very stable. Very hard to stall, right? Military jets are designed to be aerodynamically unstable because they're designed to be thrown around up there. Evasive maneuvers, all this sort of crack. High G, So it's interesting to see, they started here and then they ended up over there. And it's always the case. I mean, Formula One, for example, right? We're going on a tangent, but just bear with me. Formula One, for example. In F1, they have the latest and greatest when it comes to technology, when it comes to vehicles, racing, engine controls, DRS, car systems, aerodynamics. They're all there, right? Airbag deployment, all this sort of crack. That eventually makes its way down at the consumer level. So your car suddenly has these sensors. It has these kinetic energy reproduction systems. That's where it comes from. It's no different in the world of general aviation. Military, because that's what they're pushing, the technology. Military stuff tend to be at the very leading edge, and then it filters back into your civilian aircraft. The likes of GPS, the likes of the autopilot, the likes of all of that stuff. That's where it filters in from, But the basics remain the same. The very same basics. Every pilot flying in the world today, real world, started off right here. They all started off with a small general aviation aircraft. More than likely a Cessna, could be a Piper, or it could be something different. But they all started the same. That is how you get from, this location to that location. So the same principles apply, and then you build on that knowledge. We're on a tangent. That's never happened before, right? But yeah, it's interesting to kind of know where they go from it. So anyway, looking at these two pictures, the lift over angle of attack curve, as shown below, shows how the lift changes with the angle of attack. As you gently raise the nose, the wings produce more lift and the curve rises steadily. At a certain point, at the critical angle of attack, the wings generate their maximum lift. This is the stalling angle of the wing. If you increase the pitch beyond this point, the curve will drop off sharply, lift decreases, even though the nose is higher. This is the incipient stall region, and once we reach the end of the curve, the airflow stops flowing along the upper wing surface, and a fully developed stall occurs. So that's what we're looking at here, right? Now, it's another thing to take on board. They've mentioned here an angle of attack, the maximum angle of attack of an aircraft. You would always associate your airspeed, right, your indicated airspeed, with how close you are to a stall, right? So you'd say, sure, look, I'm doing 110 knots. I'm not going to stall. That is kind of negated when you look at angle of attack, because if the angle of attack is too much, it really doesn't matter how fast you're traveling. The wings can only produce lift up until a certain point, the maximum lift, i.e. the maximum angle of attack. You could be at very high airspeed, and if you were to, exceed the maximum angle of attack, the wing will stall. It can no longer produce lift. It's usually done at air shows. Fighter jets, they do it all the time, because you'll see them. You'll actually see the aircraft doing these outrageous high G-force turns, because they're effectively stalling the wing. The wings are stalling, but there's so much thrust from the afterburners, they can actually maintain it. There's an aerodynamic or an aerobatic move fighter pilots do at air shows. You'll actually see them. They'll come in that looks to be quite slow at a very high angle of attack, and the plane is coming in like this. It's mad looking, right? But this is where you get something like a power on stall, whereby, you're exceeding the lifting capability of the wing. You're exceeding that angle of attack. So even though your airspeed is good, you're deflecting the air too much. The wing, there's not enough air hitting the wing. We kind of dive into this, But anyway, diving and dynamic forces. Well, the Cessna 172 can't reach its maximum speed in level flight. It just doesn't have the power to overcome the drag force at higher airspeeds. And remember, your forces, as fast as you are moving forward, that increases your drag. The higher lift you have, that increases your weight. You've an equal off balance, or a balance of the opposite, if that makes sense, right? Ethan, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well. So that's where all this comes into. So you need to remember that if you're given the full beans going forward, your drag is going to be quite higher. Or it's going to be the same, or in some cases could be higher. You get into parasitic drag and all this sort of jazz. But in this, we'll focus on the 172. That's the aircraft that we're learning, right? It cannot. It's designed so that it can't reach its maximum speed in level flight. You're flying level. You're on full power. It just won't get there. The engine is not strong enough to push it on, right? That means we need to dive to get to the maximum speed. But there's a catch. At high speed, a huge amount of air flows over the wings and control surfaces, and they create very strong aerodynamic forces. This means control inputs must be very smooth and deliberate. Sudden or full deflections at these speeds can risk structural damage. And you'll see it. I mean, if you've watched Top Gun, if you've watched Maverick, they're saying that the F-14 or the F-18 is capable of so many G. Any more beyond that, you'll actually bend the airframe. And you'll see aircraft at aircraft graveyards, the fuselage is bent, the wing is bent. They've exceeded it, or they have structural damage. Flaps usually are the first to go. They drop the flaps at too much of a high speed, and it breaks the cable. Flaps are now useless. And that's simulated in a number of aircraft. The Aviation Comanche does that very well. Even an aileron, you can bust an aileron depending on what you're doing. So structural speed or maximum speed is important, because even in the sim, full deflection, or if you're hard on your controls, you'll break the plane. Simple as that, right? And it's very much in the real world. But in this video, Navigraph will explain the concepts and demonstrate how to safely enter a power dive to just below maximum speed, as well as how to recover smoothly without overstressing the aircraft. So we're going to play this. We'll have a look, right? It's a 20-minute video, but I've been loving the content so far from Navigraph on this. So we'll have a look here and see what the lads have to say, right? So we'll do
Today, we're stalling. The Cessna is capable of flying at high air speeds, diving down towards the Earth at almost 170 knots. Learning to ride the edges of the envelope is fun, fundamental, and can be life-saving. The recovery from a stall is an important non-standard maneuver that all pilots must master. So let's go and try it out.
Welcome back to Navigraph Academy and to your journey towards attaining your very own virtual private pilot's license. Today's plan is first to explore stalls and why they happen. For example, why does lift suddenly decrease when we hit a specific low airspeed? And how does the plane react in this early stage of the stall, a phase which we call the incipient stall? Then we'll look at the situation that develops if the airspeed continues to decrease. And this leads us into the fully developed stall discussion. Lastly, we'll try diving to maximum speed. And flying this fast makes the control surfaces full of aerodynamic energy. And in this state, it is very easy to overstress or overspeed the aircraft structure, propeller, or the engine. And we'll teach you how to avoid all of this, all while enjoying the high-speed fun. First, let's look at stalls. Do you remember the balance of forces that we covered in our previous lessons? You may recall that an aircraft in level flight has a perfect balance between lift and weight. And we also talked about lift being a product of both airspeed and of angle of attack. Increasing our pitch attitude will increase our lift, and so will increasing our airspeed. Remembering these facts, we can consider what happens when we reduce our airspeed. As airspeed begins to trail off, we will start losing lifting ability. However, naturally, weight is unchanged, so with less lifting force available to counter the force of gravity, we'll start descending. If we are to maintain level flight at a lower speed, we will again have to regain the lost lifting force. This is done by raising our pitch attitude, thus increasing our angle of attack. As angle of attack increases, the airflow over the wings is angled further and further downwards, causing an equal and opposite reaction that creates a larger lifting force. Thus, as we reduce our airspeed, we must raise our nose in order to maintain level flight. However, there is a physical limitation to how much we can angle our wings. The airflow consists of air molecules flowing across the wings, much like water flows across the backside of a spoon held under a tap. Considering the spoon for a moment, if we increase the angle of the spoon further and further, we'll see that the water is redirected further and further away from the original vertical direction. This is exactly the same physical phenomenon as when airflow is redirected as a result of increasing the angle of attack of our wings. But as we increase the spoon's angle to the water, we find that suddenly the water breaks contact with the spoon, and the stream of water returns to its original flow direction. The water stream has now separated from the spoon, causing a rapid loss of water redirection. The airflow over the wing experiences the same thing. When we reach a critical angle of attack, the air molecules streaming across the wing will begin to separate from the wing surface. Remember, the downwards redirection of airflow was the primary cause of our lifting force. So as we reach the critical angle of attack, the downwards redirection of airflow begins to reduce, and we will experience a marked loss of lift as a result. Here is a diagram that presents the lift as a product of the angle of attack. We can see that the lift increases steadily to about 13 degrees angle of attack, and at this point, the wing profile experiences the maximum amount of lift. Any further increase in the angle of attack will first start to reduce the lift, and then at the end of the curve, the wing profile will completely lose all lifting capability. Operating between these angles of attacks, we are in the incipient stall. In the incipient stall condition, the wing is still generating lift, but any further increase in angle of attack will decrease the total lift generation. That means that any further increase in pitch will increase our descent rate.
Let's take a look at how the incipient stall presents itself in the aircraft. Here we are in level flight. First, we make sure we're at a relatively high altitude. This ensures safety if the stall develops into a spin. For incipient stalls, at least 5,000 feet off the ground is a good safety margin. We most often practice stalls at idle power. This time, we're doing a straight stall, meaning we'll maintain our course and our wings level throughout the maneuver. As I prepare to lower our speed, remember to look straight ahead, finding a landmark. Let's slowly retard our throttle to idle. Left rudder is required to maintain coordinated flight due to the reducing slipstream effect. Our airspeed will slowly start to come back. As I keep raising our nose to prevent any loss of altitude, I add some trim to assist. We can see that we're approaching the no-flap stall speed, or the so-called clean configuration stalling speed. It is marked by the bottom edge of the green band on the airspeed indicator. As we get close to the stall, we're going to start to hear a stall warning whistle.
Stall.
This warning activates approximately 5 to 10 knots before the stall speed. Now, we let the airspeed stabilize at a stall speed plus approximately 5 knots. We must lower the nose and initiate a descent to maintain the speed. We will keep hearing the stall warning as we do this. We now know that we're flying at or very close to the angle of attack that gives us maximum lifting force. Therefore, any increase in pitch attitude should lead to an increase in descent rate. Let's try this out. Look at our vertical speed. As I slowly raise the nose further, we can immediately see an increase in descent rate. This is confirmation that we are now in the incipient stall. In this speed region, the controls will feel sluggish. Larger control deflections are necessary to generate movement without the access. This is because of the low airflow speed over the control surfaces, leading to small aerodynamic reactions. In normal operation, we want to avoid stalls, but learning how to exit a stall is crucial for the day when we accidentally enter it. Our current airspeed is very close to the fully developed stall speed, which can be risky, especially near the ground. If we were to hear the stall warning sound in normal conditions, we'd execute a stall recovery procedure. Now, I want you to pay close attention, as this is a procedure you must master. It'll enable you to safely salvage an inadvertent stall in the future. The recovery works like this. The first thing I'm going to do is reduce our angle of attack. A slight pitch forward input to lower the nose just below the horizon is all that's necessary. This immediately takes me out of the stall by decreasing our angle of attack. As our airspeed is low, I smoothly but firmly add power all the way back to full. I meet with right rudder to stay coordinated and prevent the yaw. As airspeed climbs back up and reaches VY about 75 knots, I enter a climb to regain our lost altitude. As I reach my original altitude, I return a level flight.
As we've mentioned, increasing the angle of attack further in the incipient stall could result in a fully developed stall. Unlike in an incipient stall, a fully developed stall condition means that the airflow has separated completely from the wing surface. Before we explore the aircraft's behavior in the fully developed stall, we should consider a few things about the actual aerodynamic design of the Cessna. Airplanes, like the Cessna 172, have wings designed to make fully developed stalls less chaotic and more controllable. For example, the inner portion of the Cessna's wings are designed to stall before the outer portions of the wing. This allows the ailerons located on the outer wings to maintain effectiveness through the initial stages of the stall. It also means that in a stalled condition, a part of the wing is still producing lift, while another is not. This reduces the sharpness of the stall, and in practice, usually only a part of the Cessna wing is in a fully developed stall, while the other portions are in fact in the incipient stall condition. The stall characteristics of the Cessna means it is very difficult to enter an unstable or unsafe attitude. However, other planes may present less favorable stall behaviors, and it is important to know the stall characteristics of each plane that you fly. With all this in mind, let us now look at the Cessna behavior as it enters the fully developed stall. We must remember that the Cessna is a front-heavy aircraft. Recall from our previous lessons that the center of gravity sits about here. When lifting force is lost, we find that the Cessna desires to lower its nose. Therefore, as we enter the fully developed stall, we will first feel a force pushing the nose forward. If we allow the natural tendency to progress, our nose will actually lower as well. And note that this is a good thing, as a reduction in pitch attitude also leads to a lowered angle of attack on the wings.
So what we're saying here, I mean, this is pretty much what we were saying earlier, right? There are some aircraft that are designed to be, more aerodynamically stable. So the likes of the Cessna, for example, its reaction to when getting into a stall, it's going to almost correct itself, because the tendency is the nose will actually start moving downwards, right? Because the center of gravity helps that. And, you know, again, with the Cessna 172, it's a high wing configuration. There are advantages to that versus a low wing configuration. So you can kind of see where, you know, years upon years of aerodynamic design has styled and designed these aircraft to be more stable in approaching a stall, level flight, all that jazz. So that's where all this comes into. It's interesting then when you see, or when you compare what you learn in the Cessna, for example. The fundamentals will remain, but how you recover, or that procedure, will vary from aircraft to aircraft. And it depends, of course, on, you know, the design of the aircraft, your weight and balance, the environment, all of these things come into play. Do you know? Eagle 737, good to see you, buddy. T-tails are the worst to stall. Again, it's so a T-tail is somewhat, well, not necessarily opposite to this, but instead of having your elevators lower, your elevators are higher, and therefore the impact of less air hitting those it changes it a fair bit. Do you know? But good stuff this is.
And most likely the end of the stall condition. This means that the stall behavior of the Cessna is self-correcting.
Let me show you how the Cessna behaves in a fully developed stall. Here we are in level flight again. We again prepare to stall by reducing the power to idle, while maintaining course towards our landmark. As speed begins to trail back, I maintain altitude. As we approach stall speed, we will this time maintain altitude until we feel the aircraft react with a nose down moment. This will be our cue that we fully entered the developed stall. There's the stall warning. I keep raising our nose. At this point, we can see that the Cessna is struggling to maintain pitch. If I keep adding pitch up inputs, we could feel the airplane being nose heavy and how it desires to reduce the pitch attitude. We have now stalled the aircraft fully. Let us recover. I allow the aircraft to naturally reduce pitch attitude. I smoothly add power to full, remembering our rudder. I maintain a stable attitude, regaining airspeed. As I reach 75 knots, I enter a climb towards our initial altitude. Note that the main difference between the recovery of an incipient stall and the fully developed stall is that in the fully developed stall, the Cessna tends to reduce pitch attitude by itself. We only have to allow the aircraft to lower the nose, at which point the recovery process becomes identical to the incipient stall condition.
The fully developed stall we've just seen was a straight stall, where both wings stalled uniformly. However, if we had stalled in a turn, or while flying somewhat uncoordinated, one wing may have stalled before the other, leading to a more complex reaction. Consider this aircraft in a turn. The outer wing is generating slightly more lift than the inner wing, and this is because it travels the longer distance around the turn. Traveling a longer distance means having a higher airspeed. So as we approach the stall speed, the inner wing, having the lower airspeed, will begin to stall first. Let us now consider the resulting motion of this unbalanced stall. Looking at the aircraft from behind, the reduced lift on the inner wing resulting from the stall will lead to a rolling motion, and this rolling motion will be in the direction of the inner wing. If the stall is allowed to continue to develop, we may end up with a very steep bank angle, and this steep angle may create a very rapid descent and a large increase in airspeed. The goal of the recovery is therefore to limit the airspeed increase and to recover a wings level climbing attitude. Because of this, we can say that if a large wing drop occurs in a stall, it is important to reduce the power to idle. This will prevent the airspeed from increasing too much. Once the stall has ceased and a sufficient airspeed has been regained, we will use coordinated aileron and rudder to return to a wings level attitude. And once the wings are leveled, we will slowly and carefully raise the nose to reach a climb attitude. As we do, we slowly increase the power back to full, transitioning to a climb at 75 knots.
Fully developed stalls with unbalanced stall progression across the wings are more pronounced from the cockpit. Safely executed, they're one of the most fun maneuvers that we can do in a small airplane. Let me show you how it's done safely. Let us consider the fully developed stall in a turn. Here we are, power off descent, flying at 68 knots. I will now enter a right turn. There we go. I'm stable at 30 degrees bank angle, and the airspeed is stable at 68 knots. Now, I will raise our nose, slowly decreasing airspeed. As we approach our stalling angle of attack, we will hear the stall warning. Let's continue raising the nose. As the stall progresses, you can see the inner wing dropping. There we go, a rapid drop. Let's recover. Release aft pressure. Ensure power is at idle. Positive airspeed. I recover the wings level. Now I start raising our nose. Approaching the horizon, I'm going to add full power. Pitch for climb attitude. There we go. Coming back at my VY at 75 knots. We can now recover the lost altitude.
At this point, I'd like to discuss some of the real-life risks associated with stalls. First, I'll show you what can happen if ailerons are used while recovering from stalls. Here's a Cessna 172. Now, if this wing had stalled more than the other, it would drop. Sitting in the cockpit would feel this as a roll to the left, and our initial reaction would be then to roll wings back level again like this. And as you can see here, this causes the aileron on the stalled and the downgoing wing to deflect downwards. Looking at the wing from the side, we can see that such a deflection would cause the aileron to be directed further downwards. In effect, the downgoing aileron causes an increase of the angle of attack of this wing. If the wingtip is already stalled or close to stalling, the increasing angle of attack will further deepen the stall. This means that the very act of using the aileron may cause the airflow to separate and induce a strong stall at the wingtip. This would lead to what is known as aileron reversal. So let me explain. Consider this Cessna with the left wing more stalled than the right one. This would induce a roll to the left. Now remember, the pilot is trying to arrest a low wing situation by raising the wing, deflecting the aileron on the downgoing wing downwards. But since the wing stalls instead of providing more lift, a reverse reaction would actually occur. Instead of the aileron causing the wing to rise, the stall would instead lead to the wing dropping. In this video, you can see a pilot perform a stall exercise. The wing drops, but the pilot applies heavy aileron deflection in the opposite direction in an effort to counter the rolling motion. As you can see here, the wing does not raise, but keeps dropping. The instructor takes control and regains stable flight, primarily by reducing the nose attitude and breaking the stall condition. The student has just suffered from the aileron reversal effect. It's also important to remember that this course is for virtual flight simulation only, and some parts of the recovery training practice here is not transferable to real-life flying practice. For example, spatial disorientation can become a real threat in real-life operations as the balance system is exposed to unfamiliar accelerations, something that is not possible to simulate even in the most sophisticated aircraft simulators.
Now, this is something as flight simmers we do all of the time, and it's very similar to what we would do in a car. Go back to the idea of a car skidding on the ice, right? So when you're in a car, you suddenly feel the back skidding away to the left. Well, naturally, we want to turn the steering wheel, oh, we're going the wrong way, get me back on course. They teach you in driving, you always steer into the spin, right? So if the back of the car is going to the left, turn left because you correct the spin, right? With an aircraft in a stall, particularly with one wing stalling, especially as sim pilots, our reaction is always going to be get the wing level first. But you can see it has that reversal effect of the aileron. So in order to correct it, don't go near the ailerons. Allow the nose to drop. That'll increase your airspeed. That wing will start generating lift, and then you're able to straighten it out. But airspeed is key to all of this. Rudder inputs will help. Again, it's trying to maintain that coordinated flight, right? But it's one thing that we all do. If we're in a stall and a wing is lower than the other, we'll always try and first correct that. Oh, quick, turn the yoke or turn the joystick in the opposite direction to get that wing back up out of the ground. But you can see it actually has the reversed effect. It'll actually induce the spin, which is what you're trying to avoid. So once we know where this is going, it's kind of mad though, yeah? Spin the rudder to stop the spin and nose down. Yeah, so your rudder, again, think of it as what we learned in the previous lessons, that coordinated flight. What happens? We know what happens in relation to the power. As we apply more power, small with the right rudder. As we come off the power, small with the left rudder, right? But it's no different than when you turn the wing, you turn the aircraft to the right, you apply a small bit of right rudder to keep coordination, or if you go left, you apply a small bit of left rudder. Same principle.
Such as full flight simulators used by airlines for advanced commercial training.
We've covered what happens when the Cessna flies too slow. So let us now move on to what happens in the high-speed segment. High-speed flight could result from mishandled spins. A spin is a rapid reduction of altitude in a low nose attitude, and all of the potential energy, which is our altitude, is quickly converted into kinetic energy, which means a higher airspeed. We could also intentionally enter high-speed descents to quickly reduce altitude. For example, if we are suffering from an engine fire. But high-speed flight is a non-standard flight condition that requires us to use a very careful approach. And I'll explain why we must take care not to overstress the aircraft. The Cessna structure is built with lightness in mind, because a light aircraft is an aircraft that is capable of holding more fuel, more people, and more cargo. Less weight also means improving the range and the performance of the plane. And as a matter of fact, most planes are built with relatively narrow safety margins to allow them to take off at all. Whereas in other industries, a safety factor of 3 or 4 may be used, most aviation structural strength components commonly use a safety factor of 1.5. This means that all aircraft structures must be able to withstand 150% of the force expected in normal operation before we can expect it to suffer deformation or failure. It is up to us as pilots, the professionals, to avoid putting any excess stress on the airframe. In high-speed flight, such as in a dive, the airstream velocity across the aircraft is high. This means we're experiencing strong aerodynamic reactions from all of our control surfaces. If we were to apply a full pitch-up input, we would create a very strong nose-up force. And this force would vastly exceed the safety margin designed by the manufacturer. It is very likely that the aircraft would suffer permanent and catastrophic damage. We must also consider the maximum approved airspeed in any operation, the so-called VNE. VNE stands for Velocity Never Exceed, and this is the absolute maximum airspeed of the aircraft. On the Cessna, VNE is exactly 163 knots, and it must never be exceeded.
So what we're saying here is, and you'll see it in Microsoft Flight Sim, if you go into your settings, it'll say, what's it called? Forces will create structural damage, right? That's where they're getting this from. If you're going too fast and you apply too much input on your controls, the forces now on the aircraft exceeding that 150% capability, that's where it would lead to assimilated structural damage. It's the very same as if you come down too hard in the landing gear. The materials are built in such a way that will withstand normal use and then a little bit more. That's pretty much it. And that's when you have this VNE, the never exceed this speed. This is something that can catch pilots out real world and in the sim, because whatever is indicated on your airspeed, that's all well and good. But for example, if you have wind gusts all of a sudden, they could suddenly push you over that threshold, or if you go into a dive or a steep dive, you could exceed that quite easily. So you need to be careful with your power and your speed, and how much deflection or input you're going to be using in your flight controls. In the sim, it's very forgiving, right? We can turn things like damage off, but in the real world, you absolutely do not have that choice. So, you might see, if, YouTube videos, you're saying, why isn't the pilot pulling up? Like, why isn't he trying to get out of this? There's a reason, because they're going to have an issue causing structural damage to the aircraft. You know what I mean? So VNE, it's there. It's usually, you'll see it on any airspeed indicator, digital or analog. It's always going to be there. You know what I mean? So Eagle says the guy teaching but doesn't know the difference between spin and spiral dive. Who, me or Navigraph? These are CFIs, so Eagle, with the greatest of respect, unless you're a CFI, and drop them an email. I mean, Navigraph have said this. They want feedback. If there's anything there that, people are going to, hey, that doesn't seem right, they need that feedback. But these guys are professional pilots. They're CFIs. They train like they're instructors. You know what I mean? So if they're doing something different or how they explain it, that's feedback that Navigraph need. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, right. We continue on.
As we practice high-speed flight, we will dive close to V&E, aiming for an airspeed of about 155 knots. Jason will now explain how this is done from within the aircraft.
First of all, the Cessna is not a race car. Even at full power, the Cessna's top speed in level flight sits at around 125 knots. This is about 40 knots shy of the maximum speed. So in order for us to reach the target of just below V&E of 163 knots, we must dive. Let me show you how this is done in the airplane. Let's begin by ensuring we have plenty of altitude to work with. 7,500 feet is a good target here. As I prepare to enter our dive, I will reduce my power to about 1,500 RPM. This provides a safety margin to propeller overspeed, as the high airflow in the descent will push a propeller spinner faster. We also avoid using idle power. This way, we can reduce power if we find ourselves approaching V&E too fast. All right, let's dive. We put the nose attitude at about 15 degrees nose down. I use some trim to maintain this pitch. Watch the airspeed indicator closely. We can see the airspeed is increasing rapidly here. As airspeed increases, I find myself pushing on the control device. The increasing airflow is causing an ever-increasing pitch-up tendency due to the increased effectiveness on the stabilizer. I trim to remove some of the required pitch force. We are approaching V&E. Note the bottom of the barber pole area that marks V&E. Let's target about 155 knots. And make sure to use pitch carefully to stabilize the airspeed. At this airspeed, we must be careful not to overstress the aircraft. Any pitch or roll or yaw inputs must be small and delicate. Nudges are often enough to cause large reactions. Monitor RPM and do not increase power, as this could cause the propeller to overspeed. Let us recover. First, I gently and very carefully pull the throttle to idle. As I do, I also begin a very careful pitch-up movement. Small pitch control inputs are very important not to overstress the airframe. We raise the nose to climb attitude. I check our airspeed. If it's close to 100 knots or less, as here, I can slowly add full power again. From here, we can recover the lost altitude.
I'm sure you're eager to try this out for yourself. And you can right now inside Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just go to the Navigraph Academy website, and there you'll find all of our training content as well as our own in-game training sessions, allowing you to jump straight into the cockpit and start stalling. Also, please consider subscribing to our channel so that you can access all of our future training content.
Right.
Also, by subscribing, you will be supporting our aviation training content right here on YouTube. See you.
And it's also important to note that if you do see mistakes, they'll tell you that. You know, reach out to them. Bit of useless information, the barber pole, right? Anyone know how the barber pole became a thing, red and white? Anyone know that story? The barber pole, you often see it. It's a universal, international thing. You see the red and white on a pole. Ah, barber, they're going to cut me hair. What I learned, or what I heard, I read, many hundreds of years ago, barbers back in the day, they used to leave out rags, you know, after they kind of give you a close shave and whatever else. And on that, there'd be an old bit of blood on a white sheet, and they used to leave them outside to dry. That's what I learned. However true that is, I don't know, but it sounds interesting, doesn't it? But anyway, let us go forward and let's see what happens. So we've looked at the limits in relation to stalls and dives and see how to operate at the edge of the performance envelope safely and in control. The main things we need to take away from this would be having a minimum safe altitude, and also knowing that we're not going to be using full or idle power. It gives us a small bit of room to maneuver, especially when we want to do a dive. The airspeeds take some time to get familiar with the different V speeds listed below and why they are called that. The V comes from the French word vitesse, or vitesse, meaning speed, right? I select one aircraft, but a different one comes out. What do you mean, Kubi? So we have VA, maneuvering speed, in and around 100 knots. The maximum speed at which you can safely apply full control deflection, right? Without overstressing the airplane. right? So your VA speed. It's not marked on the airspeed indicator, but it is shown on a placard in the Cessna 172. So your VA is maneuvering speed. Maneuvering speed, you can give the controls full deflection without causing structural damage. Then we have VNO. That's the maximum structural cruising speed. The upper limit of the green arc on your airspeed indicator. You may fly above it, but only in smooth air and only with caution. In turbulence, staying below VNO protects the aircraft structure from damage, and as we were talking about, wind gusts could have a huge impact on that as well. So VNO, that's where we call it rental power. You're right on the limit. Then you have VNE, never exceed. This is a speed that they want you to never exceed. And in the Cessna 172, it's around 163 knots. Marked by the red line on the airspeed indicator, the Barber line, exceeding this speed risks severe structural damage. It is an absolute limit, and you may never go faster. So you are not to exceed, even though it's possible you could exceed it, right? By doing so, the manufacturer's warranty is like, well, you went over that speed. We told you what was going to happen. Good luck in the cup. All right. Strap, good morning to you, buddy. Hope you're well. So you can see it here. VNE is shown on the Barber pole. Then we have our, what's this middle bit here? What's this yellow bit? Anyone know? And then we have the lovely green bit. Yeah. So the green bit, anywhere in that green bit, that's going to be our VA, our maneuvering speed. The middle bit here, this is your VNO, your maximum structural cruising speed. All right. And usually you tend not to go in there unless it's very smooth air, there's no turbulence, and there's no high wind gusts. Otherwise, just stay clear of it, right? So let's practice how to safely enter and recover both stalls and high-speed dives. We're going to rehearse each step in the aircraft, building confidence in handling the airplane right up to its limits, and then back to normal flight again. Our stall entry procedure, we're going to reduce the power, smoothly bring the power back to idle. We're going to adjust the pitch to maintain altitude while the airspeed reduces. We're going to monitor for a stall indication. We watch out for the stall warnings, such as an oral warning, stall, or the bell, and we'll also see some buffeting. That's the shake on the entire airframe. And sudden wind drops. If the stall is fully developed, we'll feel the nose or wings dropping. All right. MDA, good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. Our incipient stall recovery procedure. What we do in an incipient stall, pitch down to reduce the angle of attack, increase our power to apply thrust, and then we counteract the yaw, because as we add power, right, we need to add a bit of yaw to counteract it, and then we pitch for a desired airspeed. Once speed increases, pitch up to set your desired airspeed. In our case, it's going to be around 75 knots to maintain a stable and steady climb. A developed stall, how to recover. We allow the aircraft to reduce pitch, so you're letting the aircraft naturally nose down. We're going to neutralize the ailerons, making sure that the wings are level, right? Keep the ailerons neutral to prevent unwanted roll. So we neutralize them. Regain wings level. Once you have a good airspeed, now you can use your ailerons and your rudder to roll your wings back into position, right? Increase our power as the pitch approaches the horizon, apply thrust to help regain, counteract the yaw from applying that thrust, and then we pitch once again for our desired airspeed, which is going to be in and around 75 knots. Okay, so that's the stall. You happy enough with that? Then we'll move on to the dive, right? A high-speed dive. We're going to set our power, which is roughly about 1500 RPM on the Cessna. We don't go to idle, and the reason being is if we lose the speed too much, we can apply power, or worse, if we're diving too fast, we can still reduce a little bit of power. So we aim for about 1500 RPM. We pitch down gently, about 15 degrees down to get our dive, and then we monitor the airspeed. Scan the airspeed indicator and monitor it closely, not to exceed VNE target. Now that's saying not to exceed VNE, so our target is 155 knots, VNE is about 163. So at around 155 or so, that's where we want to start the dive recovery procedure. So to recover the dive, reduce power, smoothly reduce it to idle, very gently start pitching that aircraft nose back up. Keep raising the nose to a climbing attitude. Take care not to overstress the aircraft. We then increase our power, and then we climb once we get to that power. So start climbing to regain the lost altitude. Usually you should target VY, which is around 75 knots. Remember, these procedures are key to staying in control when flying at the edge of the performance envelope. Rehearse them regularly to build confidence and develop safe flying habits, and well, we'll give it a blast, right? Couple of questions. Which statement about V speed is correct for the 172? VA increases as weight decreases. VA is the highest speed at which full abrupt control deflections will not overstress. VNO 128 is the red radial line, never exceed. VNE 163 knots is acceptable in light turbulence. So which is the right one here, do we think? Right? So VA is the highest speed at which full abrupt control deflections will not overstress the aircraft. So if you're unsure, we'll just go up. Maneuvering speed is you can safely apply full control deflections without overstressing the aircraft. I'm inclined to go with that. I don't like the way it says abrupt, but it is correct. The maneuvering speed above VA, abrupt inputs can exceed structural limits, but below the airplane will stall before it overstresses. All right. Next question. You've executed a dive to near VNE. How should you recover? So how do we recover it, right? Grazilia, welcome in. Smoothly reduce throttle to idle, then make gentle pitch up inputs to arrest the descent, and when airspeed decays towards 100 knots, add full power and climb. Do we add full power to climb immediately, maintain throttle, or roll into a steep turn? It's going to be smoothly reduce it. We've now executed the dive and we want to recover. How do we recover it? Slowly reduce the throttle and very gently pitch up. That's how we recover it, right? In a fully developed stall with a wing drop during a turn, what is the correct recovery sequence? So we've one wing down. Do we add full power immediately, then pull the elevator towards you to stop the descent? Do we roll the wings level with the aileron, then add full power? Do we reduce the angle of attack, i.e. the nose down, set power to idle if needed to control the speed, then level the wings as lift returns and smoothly add power and climb? Or do we apply opposite rudder and maintain pitch back pressure to maintain altitude? I'd be saying we reduce our angle of attack, nose down, set power to idle if needed to control your speed, and then level the wings as lift returns. That's what we do. You're practicing an incipient stall. The stall warning sounds, control feels mushy, and the aircraft starts to descend. What is the correct immediate action? Do we lower the nose slightly and add power? Do we pull back in the elevator to hold attitude? Do we use the aileron to keep the wings level? Or do we extend the flaps immediately? So you're practicing an incipient stall. The stall warning now sounds, control feels mushy, and the aircraft is starting to descend. What's the correct immediate response? We lower the nose and we add power, I think. Correct. Right, are we ready? Now it's time to apply your theoretical knowledge into practice. Let's go to the briefing. This is just a quick video on what we're going to be doing.
Let us do some stalls and dives. As before, go to the Activities menu, scroll to the right, and click Custom Content. Today, we're on Lesson 5. You will start your flight at altitude. As always, first find your trim for level flight. First up should be straight stalls. Reduce power to idle, maintain altitude, and wait until you hear the stall warning. As you do, break the stall and recover. Lose as little altitude as possible and maintain heading. Then try the same thing again, only this time allow the airplane to reduce speed all the way to a fully developed stall. Then recover, again minimizing altitude loss and while maintaining heading. Enter a power off descent, then begin a turn. In the turn, increase pitch until stall. The aircraft will drop its wing. Recover with minimal loss of altitude. Last, you should practice diving to max speed. Climb to 7,500 feet, then enter the dive according to the procedure. Your target is 155 knots. Recovering, minimize the g-force by using smooth control inputs. When you have done all the maneuvers, exit your flight. Within minutes, your results will be presented on the Academy website.
Right.
Good luck.
Let's see what happens here. So what do we need to do in order to pass? So what do we do in the lesson? So we should complete straight incipient stall and recovery, straight fully developed stall and recovery, turning fully developed stall and recovery, and then we're going to do a dive to max speed. All right. There's no time limit on this. We need to recover within 500 feet, not to exceed a 15-degree bank angle. Do not exceed 135 knots and do not drift more than 10 degrees off your heading. All right, so this is fairly controlled. Our turning stall, we need to recover within 500 feet, do not exceed 135 knots, and then dive to max speed, accelerate and stabilize at 155 knots, do not exceed VNE, and recover smoothly and slowly to climb altitude. We're going to be flying over the Norwegian coastline, close to Trondheim, flying at 6,000 feet. It's 11 o'clock in daylight conditions. Right, let us go and attempt the thing with the yoke with the thing, shall we? Right, so come over here, over to custom content, and we're going to go into Navigraph number 5, which is here. This should be fun. This is the part I can't seem to get past this time early. Well, we'll have a look at it and see what happens, right? Like all these lessons, my goal is not to pass with flying colours. I want to learn something from this based on my control inputs. I want Navigraph to be able to say, right, look, you did this wrong, or that wasn't strong enough, or that was too strong. So that's the feedback we're going to look for here. Do you know what I mean? So we'll see what happens. So straight incipient stall, recover at stall warning, or other stall indication, which could be, you know, oral or the bell. Straight fully developed stall, recover after a full stall occurs. Then we'll do our turn, fully developed stall and recover, and then we're going to dive and recover. All right, so that is the plan, and let's see what happens. Very interesting stuff so far, and all this information is free. Navigraph Academy is free. You know, there's no need for subscriptions here to Navigraph or otherwise. This is all for free, which is great. Do you know? You learn more from mistakes, 100%. Did your PPL in 2013? You hated it? Oh dear. Well, congratulations, you got your PPL, dude. That's I mean, it's a thing, right? It's an achievement. A lot of people, you're only a pilot. There's a lot of study that goes into that, you know. So good stuff. Right, let this load up and we see what happens. It's taken a moment, isn't it? We'll see what happens. It's loading in scenery and all the jazz, so we'll have a look. But any of these lessons, as I said, they're all available for free. Plus all these videos that we're doing, these live streams, these are all saved as a playlist over on YouTube. If you want to watch them back after, you know, I'll apply what I know on top of this, but Navigraph are going to teach you everything you need to know. Do you know? And let us see what happens. Now, do I have my head tracking on? I do not. There we go. There's live. And we're ready to start the flight. Let's see what happens. Stalls and dive. Jesus. So incipient stall first. Are we ready, sports fans? Okay. So 6,000 feet, and we're going to try an incipient stall, right? So what we do here is slowly bring the power back. Try and maintain level flight, Murphy. There we go. Right, hold that nose up. Try and maintain it. And wait for the stall to hit. Easy now. So there's our incipient stall, or incipient stall. Nose down, power. And then we'll start climbing back. Alrighty. With the power up. And it's going to be 75 knots we're looking for a climb. Okay, a fully developed stall. Let's see what happens here. So we're going to regain back up to 6,000. Okay. Now we're going to drop the power all the way back and try and maintain our attitude on the horizon. And we're going to try and fully develop this stall. So pulling back on the nose, pulling back, pitching up. We want to... There's a stall hitting us. I have to keep applying more pressure. Nose down, power up. And back to climb. We dropped a fair bit of altitude there. And we'll try and climb back out of this. Alright. Bit of trim, watch your speed. And we just want to climb now up to 7,500 feet. So a bit of trim. There we go. And we continue to climb. So we want to get to 7,500 now, right? A lot of theory, Murph, cost me 9 grand 12 years ago to charge about 15, 100%, man. It's gotten wild expensive now, isn't it? So watch your speed. It's not rocket science, but it does take a bit of practice to kind of nail the correct attitude for your climb speeds. So we want to now get up to 7.5. And this is important. We are not to exceed... Oh, Jesus, Murph. We are not to exceed 135 knots on this one. Now again, the whole purpose of this is I need the feedback from Navigraph to tell us, no, you did this wrong, you did this right, yeah? So keep her climbing. There's 6,500 to go. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. 75, 78. I mean, that's going to be enough. Within reason, 75 is probably better. The tricky part is the same. You don't feel the stall. Yeah. Well, you can if you use if you have force feedback. You have a huge advantage straight away, massive advantage, because you actually feel the stall buffet, which is deadly. Do you know? So we're going to climb up here to 7,500 feet. Then we're going to try our turning stall. And remember, it's all about the don't go near the ailerons, right? That's what we're after here. Keep her climbing. 500 to go. They ran DA40s out of Newcastle Airport for your PPL. Oh, nice. Hey, Larry's here. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. And through all of this, we're trying to use our rudder to maintain coordinated flight. So a couple of 100 feet more to go. Just using a tiny bit of trim just to kind of counteract what I need on my controls. I mean, I can pretty much let go of my controls now. It's going to maintain our VY speed. Watch the turn as we climb. Okay, so 7,500 is what we're after. We're nearly there. Alright, approaching this now. You want your wallet to sleep? Alright, so here's 7.5. Keep the nose level. 30 degrees. 10. 20. 30. And let's nose up. Keep it at 30. And we're going to approach a developed stall. Keep that nose back. Speed dropping. There's the wing starting to drop. See that? So the wing is starting to throw in a little bit more. We're now fully developed. Easy does it. Wings level. And then back to our climb. And make sure our power goes in to meet it. And we'll regain. Now they were saying, what was it, plus or minus 500 feet? That was nearly 1,000 feet, right? All right, so our last one then is going to be our dive, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to level off. We're going to drop our power to about 1,500. Easy. And we're going to pitch down about 15 degrees, right? 5, 10, 15. Airspeed is going like an absolute rocket, see that? And we're aiming for about 155. Now, as my nose goes down, I have to keep a lot of pressure on it, right? There's 135. Keep her going. Altitude is coming down fairly lively. There's 140. Still going. Keeping an eye on the altitude. There's 150. We're looking for 155. Keep it going. 154. Come on, Betsy. There's 155. Power drops. Allow the nose slowly to come up. Airspeed is dropping. We're regaining our attitude. Very gently coming up on the nose. We've kept the wings level. We're back in V-speed. We're going to pitch the aircraft up. And we're going to apply power. All right. And we're going to go back to about 75 knots. Easy now. Which is going to be roughly there. Easy now, 78. And there we go. So it's going to be interesting to see what way we've scored on this, right? So, we'll exit this. We're going to end the flight. And now we await for Navigraph to tell us how we did. So I reckon our incipient stall was okay. Our developed stall should have been okay. Our turn in a developed stall, probably not okay. And of course then our recovery was fairly okay. So we'll see, right? We'll see. Unsure. I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to tackle us on, because it's going to give us the information that we need in order to fix it. We'll go back and replicate with the advice that Navigraph are going to give us. Do you know? A jammy Dodger, Max Stallion, fantastic. Jammy Dodgers and a cup of tea would be absolutely fabulous. It'd be fabulous. So this takes just a couple of minutes just to update over on the Navigraph website, and it's class. Like, you know, everything's working. So there we go. View analysis. We didn't pass. We got a score of 69%. Okay. What happened? So our straight stalls, stall number 1, which is our incipient stall, no problem. Our second stall, which was our developed stall, no real problem. That was fairly good. It didn't like our turning stall. Refine your control inputs, avoid abrupt pitch movements, and keep coordination balance throughout the entry. Smooth coordinated control prevents a hard brake and limits of altitude loss. So our altitude change was too much in recovering the stall. All right. Our dive is pretty good. All right. So we scored high enough there, but overall we needed 80%. So we lost all of our points on our turning stall. All right. Which is a bit of an issue. So in order to go back and do this, what we know, our straight stalls are fairly straightforward, right? We're happy enough with those. Our dive wasn't too bad. We're happy enough with that. The main work is going to be on our turning stall. And what I didn't like here is we lost too much altitude. If we were to look at the qualifying stuff, right? Let me see, review the lesson. If we were to go and look at the qualifying criteria, our turning stall, recover within 500 feet. We didn't do that. All right. Well, let's see, can we do it again, right? So we want number 5. And let's see what happens here. All right. Martel, good to see you, buddy. How are you? Zith, welcome aboard. Just had sausage sandwich and tea. Well, sausage, bit of brown sauce or red sauce or no sauce. Right, so we'll try all this again, right? Because we have to do the full lesson again. We can't just say, right, just give us the turning stall. Red sauce for life. All right, let's see what happens here. So, what we want to do here, we're going to go into our incipient stall. So we're at 6,000. We're going to throttle back. Ease off the power. Let the nose go up. And once we hit that stall warning, we recover. All right. So we bit of trim just to counteract it. We're nearly there. So there's the stall hitting us. Nose down, power in, and we're back to climbing speed. All right. Now we'll do our develop stall. So back up to 6,000. There we go. And we'll do the same crack again. So power out. And we're going to try and hold that nose. Keep the wing straight. Easing out. Stall. There's the warning. There's the buffet. Nose down. Power in. And gently pull up. There we go. Okay, so our next one now is going to be our famous turn, right? So it wants us at 7,500 feet. So off we go climbing again. Average Geordie, yes indeed, this is the stall one. So the work we need to do, the work we need to focus is our turning stall. Alright? And let's see what happens. Whoa! In a box, man, you absolute mad divil you. Look at me and me speeds. In a box, man, gifting 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Thank you very, very much indeed. Cheers, buddy. Lads, if you just got a tier 1 sub, but thanks to In a Box, man, do be sure to say thank you. Man is a legend. Thank you very, very much indeed, buddy. Right, this will take a moment to climb, so let's see what happens. Maybe we don't need 7,500 feet, but we better, you know, we better do it just in case, you know what I mean? Let's see what happens. Done all the other lessons with this one because there's no audible stall tone. Really? No audible stall? Are you not getting, like, even the Garmin unit? The lady saying, stall, stall. Tyler, good to see you, buddy. Right. 1,000 to go. I did a bit of pitch trim here, so I'm not getting too excited on the controls. Easy now. No stall audio at all. Only happens in this lesson. Oh, that's an issue. Right. And just to confirm, you get stall audio on any other flight, free flight and all the jazz as well, yeah? Second try you had sound? Okay. So remember, 500 feet is what we need to maintain here as we turn, and the stall and then the recovery, right? I know I dropped a lot more the last time, so we're gonna have to watch this one a little bit closer. Easy now. Just realised my next sub anniversary is for 12 months and falls on Christmas Day. Max Stallion, that's awesome. So what part of the lesson are you falling down on, Si? $400 to go. The turns, yeah. Well, I failed on the turn as well, so let's see what we can do now to correct that, right? There's a number of things we're trying to do. We're trying to maintain, then we're going to climb to lose off the speed. We'll then enter the stall, then we need to recover it straight away. We need to be careful with how much altitude we drop, right? Still climbing. 150 to go. $100 to go. All right. So it's going to be a 30-degree turn, and we want to try and keep our altitude bang on the money, right? So there's 7,500. Let's keep her in there as best we can. Let's lock it in, level flight, 7,500. There we go. Okay, there's 7,500. Right turn coming in. There's 30 degrees. Pitch up. Wait for that speed to hit us. 7,500. We're dropping the nose. There's the stall. Full stall. Power. And nose back up. That seemed a little bit better. We lost about 300 feet there, right? And then we regained. There's our climb. There's our pitch. And now we're back flying. Okay, the last one then is going to be our dive. Same story again. So we'll get ourselves back up to close to 7,500. So we're now going to drop the power. And we're going to pitch down 1,500. We're going to pitch down to about 15 degrees. And we're looking for 155 knots. And as we're picking up speed, I need to exert more force on the... how's the RPM going up? I need to exert more force on the stick. Keep her going. 10 knots to go. Come on, Betsy, you can do it. Easy now. A few more knots, nearly there. Aviation, good to see you, buddy. 5 knots to go. Come on, Betsy, you can do it. Okay, so we want to get up to 155. We're nearly there. And there is 155. So, power coming back. And very gently start allowing that nose to come up. Airspeed is starting to reduce, and we're slowly but surely coming out of this dive. Altitude is still okay. And we're back inside the green. We're going to apply power. We're going to nose up and regain our climb. There's our power back in. And we'll hold the pitch until we bring it back down to about 75 knots. So we're gaining altitude. Speed is still dropping down, but we'll get our pitch set up here now in a moment. 100. 90. Speed is still dropping, so we'll take our time on this. Kuma, good to see you. 90 odd knots. We'll pitch up just to get that speed back down to our VY. Keep her going. All right, we're breaking into the 70s now. $75 is what we're after. There we go. So roughly there, yeah. Okay. Let's see how we go here. Fingers crossed, lads. Fingers crossed. Lesson in progress. Let's see how this one does. So I think my again, I think the stalls were okay. The turning stall should be a little bit better because we were a lot more strict when it came to our loss of altitude during the recovery. And then the dive at the end, again, it's all about, you know, power versus speed. And then gently allow that nose to come up. So it'll be interesting to see how we score now. Our last score was what, what was the last score? 69%? Giggity. Or 70. It's looking for 80, right? It's looking for 80. So we'll have to wait and see. And yeah, as I said, like, we're using Navigraph at the moment with the Academy, but certainly on a Thursday, the style of content I want to do on a Thursday, it's all going to be about flight training or lessons, learning stuff. You know, I mean, we're starting off now with Navigraph stuff, but I want to like go into a lot more navigation and ground school stuff. So we nailed it. We got 94% on this one. So let's have a look. Again, our stalls, right? It was happy enough with our stalls. So we had heading. We kept our heading very strict. Our altitude change, 98 feet. Perfect. And our bank, 4 degree. So not too bad, right? Our second stall, we only scored 80% because we had 8 degrees of a heading drift. There was a small bit of a turn in there during that. Our altitude change was good, 270 feet. We're allowed to play with 500. And again, we had a bank angle 4 degree. Slight bit of a roll, nothing major. This one I was very happy with our turning stall, right? So if you have a look, we completed stalls and dives grand. We got 100% on that one, because we kept our altitude recovery within 500 feet. So we controlled the pitch and energy well through the stall and recovery as we kept easing the forward pressure. So I was happy with that. Then our dive to max speed, we pretty much scored the same crack again. Airspeed, we got to 155 knots, and the G-force was nice and light. It was only 1.2 Gs. You'd probably get away with 2 Gs, to be honest. Twice your weight, right? So that lesson... if it's tripping it up, it's going to be on the non-straight stalls. The key to it is pick your altitude of 7,500 feet, right turn to 30 degrees bank, keep the aircraft level, and as you do so, reduce the power and pitch up. And then as soon as you hit your developed stall, right, nose down, power in, and once your speed regains, pull back up, straighten the wing, and away you go again. So it was happy enough with that. So that lesson, without worrying too much of just using your rudder. All I used the rudder for in that entire lesson was just keeping the aircraft coordinated. It was just when I was applying power, small bit of right rudder. When I was taking away the power, small bit of left rudder. When I entered the turn, I was coordinated this time round. I gave a 30 degrees bank, applied a small bit of right rudder. As I powered back, I eased off the right rudder to keep everything coordinated. And then when you apply power again, it's all a balancing act. It's all a balancing act. All right. So I'm happy enough with that. The next lesson, when we go on to it, the next lesson is going to be slow flight and the use of flaps. Now we'll tackle this next week, but the concept, flying is often about speed, but why would you want to fly slow? Well, a slower approach speed means a shorter stopping distance, making a safer landing. That's what it's all about. Gibbo, good to see you, man. Love the use of flaps. Yeah, he's a great man for the flaps. Is Give Ireland a great man for the flaps. It's good to see you, bud. So we'll be doing this lesson next week. And we're somewhat familiar when it comes to the use of flaps, lifting equipment effectively, because we've done our stall series, right? So we know what the flap will allow us to do. Effectively, by extending the flaps, you're creating a much bigger surface of the wing, meaning lower airspeed, the wing can still develop lift because there's a bigger wing now, right? And there's other things that will worry into that as well. But as for today's lesson, I'm happy enough with that. We still have a bit of a way to go. This is going to be slow flight. Then we'll have takeoff, landing, the traffic pattern or circuits, and then we have a solo. All right. So we'll be doing them over the next couple of weeks, and then we'll move on to visual navigation, ground operations, local nav, cross-country navigation, and then solo cross-country navigation. We'll get into all of these a little bit later. Plus, as I said, I've my own material that I want to be doing on Thursdays as well. It's all about learning stuff in the sim. And it's not just going to be with general aviation. We'll tackle helis with this. We'll tackle the airliner stuff as well, even the military aircraft, because I love learning it. So what we're going to do now, lads, we shall progress. We're going to move on and start looking at our VATSIM flight for this evening. So if we go in and have a look to see what we're doing for our VATSIM flight, as this all loads up, I'll load up a couple of websites while we're waiting here, and it's going to be SimBrief as well. So our flight tonight, Thursday, it is that of where is this now? New feature. Thanks to Rambog for this suggestion. The link below will create your SimBrief flight plan with all the details. You just need to fill in your flight number and choose the aircraft you're going to fly. The rest of the details, including suggested routes, will be done. So this is the dispatch option with SimBrief. That's pretty cool. That's a fancy new link. Any chance of a close-up of those soft hands? They're not very soft today, Gibbo. I did loads of work this morning. You know, Uncle Soft Hands. But anyway, right, this is really handy. Fancy new link. Aircraft tonight, we're going in the 737 MAX. And it's going to be iFly. Imagine that's it. Block time is 2 hours 20. We got a long flight tonight. And here's everything that we need to look at. It's reckoning it's going to be giving us runway 30 left departure out of Minneapolis, and then its arrival into runway 26. Average Jordy says, I'm still learning. This is really useful for me. I'm delighted. And again, lads, look it, we've been flight simming for so long. A lot of you guys have real world experience or you're simming for long. It's an open discussion. Feel free to share any and all information when it comes to what we're doing from the from the lessons. But like, we're all in aviation. We all like to learn. So if you see something weird or if it's wrong, speak up and say, no, that's wrong. I'll go off and check. Or if it came from Navigraph, which we can feed it back to them and say, lads, what's the story here? You know, it looks as if you're saying this, but that's not how it is. They want that information. And it's all about sharing the information as well. You know what I mean? Like combined, everyone here combined, could you imagine how many hours in total we have, be it with real world aviation and or sim? There's a lot. There's an awful lot. So it's pretty cool. Right, so 30 left, arriving runway 26. We have SIDS and stars. We'll start generating this. In the meantime, our departure is going to take us out of Minneapolis. We spent some time exploring Minneapolis, so it's time to move on. Tonight, we're going to see temperatures of -10. Jesus, another chance to work on those winter ops. And we're heading down to Denver for our next stop. And the temperatures are expected to be in and around +10, which will be a bit better. However, while the cold has gone, the high altitude of the airport offers a different challenge altogether. Nicknamed the Mile High City, Denver sits exactly 5,280 feet above sea level. Surrounded by the towering Rocky Mountains, it offers a stunning mix of urban density and rugged natural beauty. Expect thin air, strong crosswinds, and stunning views on approach, especially coming in from the west. Flying into Denver is a true mix of high altitude challenge and scenic reward. An interesting fact, Denver International Airport has the longest public use runway in North America, runway 16 right or 34 left. It stretches over 16,000 feet, built to handle fully loaded wide bodies at altitude and in hot conditions. Ooh. So, what's the weather forecast for this evening, right? Let's have a look. So we're going to be over here in Minneapolis, which is up here. Sioux City, Grand, there we go. Right, so current temperatures, let's bring the time of day up to this evening. So -6, -7 degrees air temperature, right? And if we have a look then at Denver, let me see, we're going to be over here to, it's going to be like up to 20 degrees. One extreme to the next. Say 10 o'clock when we get down there, about 15 or 16 degrees. This is pretty awesome. So what about the windage? Well, the wind out of Minneapolis this evening, where am I now? Sioux Falls. So the winds, let's see if they're going to be changing from 8 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock. There's a bit of a change. They're coming in from the south to southeast, but they're light, 4 to 5 knots, nothing major. 4 to 5 knots, all right? Does temperature affect your flying technique? It does, yes. Density, altitude, temperature, updrafts, turbulence, it all does, really does. Right, back down to Denver then, looking at the winds in here. So between kind of 1900 and 2000 and 22, it's all, the wind is coming in from the west, right? And it looks to be up to 20 knots in places. And then when we get over the friggin' Rockies, this is where it all turns mad. See the way the air, it's good. That's going to be turbulent air. Right. What about cloudage? So again, we'll have a look. Low pressure, or there's a high pressure coming in over Minneapolis, but we're going to be socked in terms of cloud. 100% cloud cover. And when we go to Denver, it's kind of the same. There is a break. You can see this front moving in here. So if we go to about 10 o'clock tonight, we're flying from high over low back into high. This is going to be interesting tonight. What about precip? Are we expecting rain? Yes, indeed. So if we look at Minneapolis, it's going to be dry when we're there. However, we will be flying over a big band of snow coming in, right? But by the time we get down to Denver, they're not expecting any precip there at all. Right. So we know the wind, we know the pressures, and we know the temperatures, and now we know the weather. Freezing rain, chances are we're going to be above all of this anyway, but it's important on our climb out, we might pick up a little bit of it. So anti-ice is probably going to be required. So we need to watch for that. Right. Close that one because we have our flight plan here. And we're going to Navigraph now. Into Navigraph. And we're going to import the flight. What's the winds aloft? Oh, good call. Good call, Malky. Jesus. Windage. Wind speed. What's our altitude? 38,000. So, unbelievable strong crosswinds, 100 and odd knots, right? Drop it down to about 9,000. Yeah, heavy crosswinds. Heavy crosswind, right? So that'll affect us because we'll have to be pointing our aircraft some way into that wind as we're flying down towards Denver. So that might add a bit of time to us, the wind. All right. All right. So let's have a look here. So we're going from, we're going to be south of Sioux Falls into Nebraska and then down. So we'll want to be careful for that for the fuel, right? Okay. Let's go in and start loading up the aircraft. So we'll go into free flight. We're going to pick our beloved 737 MAX. There she be. iFly. Configure. We do have a Firefly Air livery. Yes, we do. Lovely jubbly. And we'll load ourselves into Minneapolis and make sure all our stuff is working. So, here we go. Now, we're saying out of Minneapolis, it's going to be runway 30 left. Can't see a shagging thing. Why can't we see anything? I don't want the clouds. Did they break something else in Sim Update 4? They have. Points of interest, market, navigation. How do we turn off the weather on this? Did they break that? They broke it. All right. Let's get an idea of the runway. So we're going to be over here. Let's go to IFR High in the United States. We're going to come into Minneapolis. We're going to import the flight from SimBrief. Go ahead and chuck that in. Okay, so if we're blasting off from 30 left, let's have a look. 30 left. So it doesn't really matter. We'll start where we parked last week. So we've been around G17 or G19. All right. G17 or G19. Let's see, is there anyone on the ground at the moment? We'll go with 8. Small. We should be okay in there, shouldn't we? So flight conditions, custom, off, real, live, and live. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And let all this load in. Let us see what happens. Just so loading satellite images, it's not the weather. Ah, okay. Try a different server. We'll see what happens here now. And while I'm waiting, I'll fire up some vPilot. And I also want to get this gadget working. We're going to use MobiFlight because I can use me gadget. So let's have a look. Now, what are we loaded in by? Open. Mobi profile. So we're in the iFly. WinWing equals WinWing. That's not right. I picked the wrong one. Open. iFly FMS. No, we want the WinWing. Where is this now? A3 anti, or hang on. Anybills, PMDG 737. The iFly FMS. We need to grab them. Mobi Flight iFly 737. Now we should be able to use this on the Airbus, yo. Mini FCU. Oh. Hang on, this says it's installed. WinWing FCU PMDG, Unibuilds, A400, TFDI, FS Labs, Phoenix. Well, now that's it. Why isn't that in there? Let's grab it and horse it in. It's just slow loading the image. Yeah, we'll have a look here now in a sec. Right, so here's our machine. Settings. Turn on the sauce here now with our 4 times frame rate multiplier. I've lost my mouse. And let's download this. Downloads. WinWing. Desktop. MobiFlight. And it's the Conch. Oh wait, I already have it. MobiFlight Conch iFly 73. Open. Bravo. Huh? That's not right. Open. WinWing FCU. Open. Select an orphan series. No, sure, I don't want that. I want on this one. Right. Okay. Run. Huzzah! Right now there's live. Brilliant. We'll get there eventually, lads. We'll get there eventually. Hello, iFly 73. Now get in there now and, well, let's see what's going to happen here, shall we? Okay. Isn't there like a setting? I don't know. Jesus, look at this thing. System page. Sim menu. Failures, no. Save and load. Panel state pushback. Ground support, refuel, doors. Ground support. Ground support chocks. Electric is there. Set. Other ground support. Well, we have GSX. Oh, look, we're icing up already. We have GSX here. Forward air stair, galley truck. No, that's all grand. Leave that alone for the moment. And come along, Sim, and see what happens. Hello, Flo. Request a boarding.
The boarding requested.
There's our jetway coming. All right, up above, what are we looking at here? This is a Boeing aircraft. Battery. External lights. Armed. Or emergency lights. What else do you want? Ground power on. Okay. That seems very close, but we'll go with it. Fuel pumps. Electric pumps. Leads can stay off for the moment. Panel lighting can come up. Smoking, that's okay. That's okay. Now, is our gadget working? Speed? Yes. Altitude? Yes. Heading? Yes. Excellent. That's all working. Happy days. Right, next up we want to go to VPilot. And we're going to try and connect here now in a moment. Before we do, a bit of courtesy, check our VATSIM mappage. Let's go and have a look. So we'll go to VATSIM radar. And let's see what happens here. There does not appear to be any life over this neck of the woods at all, at all, at all. All right. Let me see. We're going to connect to the network over here. We are in a B 7-3. What's the AKO for the max, lads? 7-3 B. B38M, is it? Aha. Excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Right, that's all connected. Consider supporting VATSIM. That's all connected. Lovely stuff. Right, let's have a look up here. My windows are frosting over, so we go window heat. Don't think I need the probes yet. What else do we have? There, going to a line. That's all looking good. When was the last time I flew this machine, man? This is going to kick my ass tonight. Brilliant. Now, in terms of radios, they're already on. Alison Johnson is here. Tier 3. 63 months. Holy Magoli. Ali, good to see you, missus. Hope you're well. The legend that is Ali has arrived. Okay, so what else do you want to do here with all our lights? Oh yeah, we've these lads. Okay. I was in a 737 simulator yesterday. Which doesn't look terribly different from all of this. Okay, so what about this now in terms of our flight, our options here? So if we go back to the menu, ident page, is it? Airport database. I don't think that works in this yet. Airport map video, initialize flight. Is that what we do first? Airport map, performance and payload. So, weight and balance. Did we get this in from SimBrief? Weight and balance. How do we import, read MFS data? How do we do all this from SimBrief again? Type in. Type in. There's no import. You have to enter it manually. Oh, do we? Okay. So we do... Jesus. Okay. Packs. We'll go with packs. Where's the button? On over here. So to put all this in manually, we have 127 passengers. Now, can I just put in total? Yeah. 100 and how many? 127. 127. 1, 27. How do you enter that? Enter? No. Ah, Jesus. Oh, there we go. Right, cargo. Forward or aft? Total cargo is... $2,000. So we'll just put in 1,000 in each. And then fuel. 6412. So we'll go 66. Total fuel. 66. Okay. Again, just do the total. Just do the total. If you import from Simbrief route into the FMC, then you can call the data to the flight pad, says Steve. Oh, can you? Ooh, okay. So let's see. Set payload, set full. Now, set payload. Set fuel. That's giving me a zero fuel weight of 65. Estimated takeoff weight 64. Yeah, she's close enough. That'll do. Right, complete that. Performance airport search, KMSP, isn't it? KMSP. Search. Minneapolis. Runway, 30 left. Intersection, no. Condition, wet. I'd say wet ice. Thrust, D-rate, no, that's okay. Winds. We'll get this from Navigraph. 20 at 3. Wind is 200 at 3. Outside air temperature is a horrible -9 degrees. And the QNH is 30.00. Okay. You can pull that in from the FMC. Okay, well, let's try the FMC. So, enter IRS position, ACARS. Okay, so we go FMC. Nav data is okay. Position initialization. Reference airport is going to be KMSP. Gate. What did we say our gate was? 18, was it? G18. So, Golf 18. And we'll... Last position, or this position. We'll grab the LGPS. Horse you in. Route page, KMSP. Over to KDEN. KDEN. Request the flight plan. We are Firefly. We are Firefly 235. Load the flight plan. Loading. Wind speed is meters per second, so half for feet. Yeah, I was thinking that. Runway we'll do now in a moment. Activate. Performance initialization. So 0 fuel weight. Planned fuel. 6.6. Reserves 1 for the crack. Cost index, this should be copied over, which is 5. Cruise altitude 360. 38 is what's on that. Average winds 303 at 98. 303 at 98. Top of climb, outside air temperature. Man, I miss flying bone, huh? Do departure first. Uno momento. Flight level temperature minus 62. Minus 62, lads. Jesus. That's not right. Is it? Yeah, it is. It is. It's winter. Jesus. Execute. N1 limit. We're not derating. Take off. This is all going to get wiped to me, so let's do departure. Departure is on the what? The SHEP 1 or SCEP 1. Shep 1. Transition over to Raxon. 30 left. Execute. Index. I'm doing arrival here as well. We're going to be on the Ali E4. Coming in from Podder. Or Porter. And we go ILS 26. Baloo. Route. Takeoff. N1, no D-rate. Flaps, 5 for the crack. Center of gravity, lovely. V-speeds, a Hainadoa 3, lovely. Alright, I think that's it then. Departure, arrival, legs. Next page, there's a disco. So, Shep up to Raxon. Why is there a disco? Let us see. Let us see. Select temperature. Where do you see that? Select outside air temperature. Do we need to? -9er. It's already there. I think we're okay with that. Don't scare your instructor. Good afternoon, Forsyth. Good to see you, buddy. From the tablet. From the tablet, you say? Outside air temperature is -9. Oh, sorry. Now we calculate. Is it? Or what's it missing? Go to tablet and do performance. So we're in performance, right? Takeoff weight is there. Center of gravity is there. So all the information is there. Fill in the flaps, etc. Flap configuration 5. Aircon off. Anti-ice, probably both. Thrust rating, takeoff. Calculate. 30 left, 0 degrees. Alright. What do we do on this one now? Or is that going to be done? Pre-flight is complete. I'm happy enough with thrust. So let us go in now and have a look at the at Navigraph. Because we're getting a okay, so the Shep departure, let's have a look at you. All runways climb an assigned heading for radar vectors to your assigned fix. Fair enough. All aircraft ATC crossing restrictions, climb gradients. If unable to accept, let them know. Runway 30 left for assigned headings from 220 clockwise to 360 at 7 DME arc at or above 3,000 feet. For assigned headings from 220 clockwise to 360. That won't apply though, because we're blasting off 30. For assigned headings from 220 degrees clockwise to 360, cross a 7 miles at 3,500. We're in the max, Enzo. 737 max. For assigned headings from 220 clockwise, you have to cross the 7 miles arc at 3,500 or above. So basically that's all. It's just telling us we need to be at 3,500 feet come 7 miles. Would that be right? Minimum altitude of 7,000. Grand. Okay, good stuff. So we need to be at minimum 3,500 before we hit 7 miles from the airport. That's not going to be an issue. We'll have that done about 4 miles. Grand. Okay, that works. Okay, so we're going to get radar vectored onto our initial fix. So we'll keep that blank. Continue on. Now we get down as far as Crunk. It's an hour and a half of arrival. Here be Crunk. So runway 26 from head on track 217. Crunk at 14,000. Expect radar vectors to final approach. All right. So we're going to get down as far as Crunk, and then we'll get radar vectored in. Okay, well, I'm sure we can grab an old ILS here, couldn't we? Airports KDEN. Procedure, approach, and then our arrival. Runway 7, no. Runway 26. So we're going to come in from Alley 4. Okay, that's grand. So ILS 26 final. It's going to be, it could be an ILS or an RNAV, but it's going to be final because they're going to give us a vector from Crunk, isn't it? So we'll do that. Oh, how do we add that to our route? Where's the button to add it to our route again? ILS 25, Jesus. On the left side. Usually there was a button here that says add to route, wasn't it? Far left. Am I missing something? Oh, above airports. Sorry. Approach. ILS 26. ILS 26. There we go. Thank you, Naughty. I'd have been lost otherwise. Right, how are we looking there then? Right, Crunk, and then we'll get Grand. So let us now look at the missed approach if things go wrong. So missed approach is going to be climbing to 5,900, climbing right, turn to 9,000 on a heading of 070, outbound via war radial 019er to Seaduck, 25.5 miles out and hold. Right, so we're going to climb to 5,900 feet, hang a right, and as we turn, we're climbing up through 9,000, and then on a heading of 070, we enter the hold at Seaduck, which is 25.5 miles out. Our radial is on the 019er, and we hold. And from there, they'll just vector us back in. So that's grand. That's grand. Radar required, simultaneous approach authorized. That's all grand. No warnings there. Okay, let's have a look at some of our speeds coming in. So we're talking speed restriction 280 between flight level 220 and 19er. Head is going to be at 250, so your speed is actually quite slow, right? And then we get down to Crunk. So we're going to be at 250 knots, you know. All right. Fairly straightforward. Back up here to Minneapolis. So we're up here. And let's have a look. Runway 30 left. There is the de-icing pad. You might have to use that later. Contact point ATC. So control point 24, contact ATC at 1219er. So that's if they're online, right? So they might ask us to contact from there. All aircraft within, that's okay. Ground control, that's okay. Be alert runway crossing clearance, that's okay. Okay. Right. Do we remember how to fly this machine? Couldn't tell you. Logo lights, anti-collision lights. Sure, stick on the old wing lights. We have to put in manually that, but that's okay. APU, we can give some life into this gadget. We're looking good up on the top there. We are fully aligned. APU warning light. Let's turn the divel on. APU coming up. I will do my best not to park in the parking lot. It's a bit slow loading textures today. Oh, we have an aircraft beside us. Do we go CTAF or what do we do? Naughty Gnome, what's the CTAF here? Chris Van Halen, good to see you. What's the command we put into vPilot? Is it / CTAF? Dot. One 126.7. One 267. Minneapolis traffic. Firefly 235 radio check. Oh. We're on 1267. Minneapolis traffic, Firefly 235 radio check.
5
Ah, brilliant. Come on! Thank you, Naughty. Okay. Man, it's snowing out there. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that weird? See the way, like, it's the aircraft loads in. What's going on with that? Weird, isn't it? Maybe she'll be alright. Not getting the best of performance now, but you look at that, like, there's snow, so we're going to need de-icing up here later on, I would think. Aren't we? I would think so. Yeah, see the way, like, just like a second or so, like, the texture's loading in. Anyone else having that issue? That's annoying. Why is it doing that now? How do we figure this one out? The aircraft is local. It's not being streamed. Last night, only in the iFly. Ali, it's happening on the iFly, is it? You're getting the same, Naughty. It's not a big to-do. You know what I mean? You suspect Sim Update 1 or SP1 will fix it. Yeah, I don't think there's any updates yet. Alright, okay. We're not to worry. Auto brake RTO. Flying this machine looks fairly straightforward. Park and brake is on. Loads of maps. And we'll have to wait and see what happens. I am excited to fly this tonight. This was me yesterday in Weston. Do-do. Do-do. Do-do-do. Did you see this yesterday, yeah? This was me yesterday, look. Ooh. And, you know, ah. No, it's not. There's no motion in it at all. Ali got minus 176. Oh, Jesus. I won't be doing that, Ali. Now, at this stage, yeah, I had no control inputs. I did have throttles, though, you know. And then the speed brake was having a fit. But that's what I was doing yesterday. I got that working. I got all that working yesterday. Great success, lads. Great success. So, yeah. What I'm flying today is very different. Or what we're planning to fly tonight. This will be very different. But we'll see how we get on. So I'm happy enough-ish. Everything's loaded up the way it needs to be with the aircraft, right? So our next little trick now, lads, is ramble over to Denver. Stream Elements just got timed out. Jesus, what's this now? Twitch, Tutor Murphy clip. What's this now? Brake RTO. Flying this machine looks fairly straightforward. Park and brake is on. Did you just clip me saying something stupid? Flying this machine looks fairly straightforward. Park and brake is on. Loads. Flying this machine does look very straightforward, right? It's very straightforward. Holy frame rates. Come on, Sim, will you? Jesus. Right, we're going down to Denver. Hello, Denver. And let's just look. Oh, Jesus. Look at the size of this place. B41. Get in there now, hey. Thank you, Ali, for removing the timeout and poor El Naughty. Poor El Divil. Right. It didn't like some. Oh, jeez, my throttles were on full whack. Alright, let's see what happens here, right? Alright. Thinking about it. She's thinking about it. Right. Let's see what happens. I wonder if I can apply science. Do you know the way I like a bit of science? Does that fix it? Not particularly. It seems to fix it in the cockpit though. Hang on. System. Sim. Ground. Electric. Shut in. Battery. Okay, so it fixes it for the cockpit. Sticking the LOD on 0. See that? See the way I fixed? Did you see how I fixed it? So at least we fixed the screens coming on and off. Sometimes my genius, I mean, you know, it causes political unrest. Oh, yeah. Don't think I can fix it from the externals though. You know. But that'll do. Right, let us have a look at Denver, Colorado. It's a huge airport. What runway are we expecting? 26. Runaway. Look at this, please. What are you doing an airport this big? There's 8. There's 17. 26 is up here, I'd say, is it? Let's have a look. What's going on around Denver and there's no buildings? Oh, there's buildings over there, look. Right, so we're going to come in this side of the house. Or at least that's what it's telling us so far. Right? The highwayman, right? Brilliant. Why is there so many players in Echo Golf Lima Lima? Is Jamie flying there? The Jamie Payne flight train. There's nothing to call it. There's the Westin. Practice the fast input of the Barrow. It's going to be very high. Yes, it is. What a huge airport, lads. Jesus. Right, let us connect. Boop, boop. Doo, 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 doo. Right. Bad sound effects, isn't there? Let's have a look here now. Yes, we'll go back to the VATSIM radar and have a look at Kaden. But I don't believe there's any old sauce here at all. Oh, there's aircraft though, look. There's a Delta and a Southwest, it looks like. There's the Southwest. Southwest, and then there was a Delta. There's me. Jeez, that's a There's a Lufthansa A380, look. Ooh. Look at the size of this airport. Sean Dale, good to see you. They're building more runways at this airport. It's absolutely freaking ginormous. It's in the middle of nowhere. Well, that's a lie. There's Denver. Where's the city of Denver? Oh, here it is. Let's go into Denver and have a look around, will we? This is going to be a very nice, enjoyable flight. We hope. You know, ATC giving out to me the whole time. Do what you're told, Murphy, will you? Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. Oh, yeah, the storage is friggin' real here, look. Loading in. Photogrammetry. Get all this into a rolling cache post-haste. Come on, you can do it. Fill the rolling cache with all this data. The Hiveman, no, they have. They've tweaked the lighting. They have, defo. Jesus. This is a nice kind of town. It's a big ass town, isn't it? Right, back to the airport. Now, flow is brilliant, but I really want chase plane in here. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, the fuel conspiracy. The fuel's conspiracy theories. Yeah. That's mad, isn't it? Looks more natural somehow. I agree. 19th for chase plane. Oh really? Oh jeez, brilliant. Oh, that's great news. Right, GSX, can we do some deboarding here? Make sure everything's working.
Deboarding requested.
And sure, we'll go with our Frontier for the crack. The 19th for chase plane. We're going to be busy over Christmas configuring all our stuff. Something tomorrow, but not sure what. They've been flat out. It's great to see it, isn't it? Great to see it. Right, okay, so what we have done, we've loaded in the scenery, loaded in the aircraft. Oh, it's good to see you, buddy. Ahoy there. We've loaded in the aircraft. GSX is working, and she's not giving out to me that it wants an update. Navigraph flight plan is loaded in. Block time is about 2 hours and 20. We have an idea what the weather is going to be doing. It's considerably warmer down here. It's going to be cold as balls when we leave Minneapolis, but I'm happy enough with what we're doing. So our flight tonight, we're going to probably cruise at either flight level 36 or 380, right? We're taking this machine with us, which is the iFly 737 MAX. I'm looking forward to this one. In terms of the autopilot, I have my Moby flight working. And the rest of this, it's just going to be on a whim and a prayer that, you know, it works. You know what I mean? Long time indeed. Hope you're well, buddy. You're very welcome in. Now, them blinds are going to drive me freaking nuts. How do I be Janie then? System? No. Page up. Go back. Doors, ground support, failures. Back one. Application. No. Sim menu. Failures, panel state, pushback, ground support, doors, ACARS. Airport performance and payload, video, ident, system. Where's the... Bearded Aviator, good to see you. Murph, maybe you can add the 737 MAX plug-in from flight panels. I don't have it yet. I haven't flight simmed in over a year. No way, man. How do we get in and fix or change what the airplane is doing? Sim menu. Doors, refuel, ACARS. It's not ACARS. Is it ground support? No. Doors? Do you know the way there's an option? There's an option that the blinds open. It's automatic. You know what I mean? Panel states. Sunjammer, let it be known for all of eternity, you're a genius. Panel style. Other systems? No. Miscellaneous. Cabin sun visors. Open. Set. Yes. Emergency lighting. Blue, please. Right side, blue. Set. Next page. Headphone simulation. Auto sim. Right, grand. Okay. Sweet. We're laughing. Yeah, frame rates are a little bit on the Bejani side for stutters. We'll see if we get on though. You know. Firefly air. Do the bins work? Oh, they do. Give it a shot. Jesus! What's he doing there? I did. Oh, GSX. Oh, yeah. Jesus. Right. All right, we're looking good. I dare say we're looking good. You nearly clocked your man with the bin twice, you know. Brilliant. You can see me in Denver as well. Nice. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting flight tonight for sure. Interesting weather, long haul-ish to, well, it's not a long haul. But look at the 380 pushing back. Oh, we can get the cleaners in. Oh, yeah. How do we do that now? Cleaning will be available after deboarding. Ooh. All right. That's pretty cool. Chalks, good to see you, buddy. You're at gate 24. We just got disconnected. We just got reconnected. What happened there, lads? Right, okay. So it'll tell us when the boarding is complete and all the jazz. Alright, I mean, it is smooth. I mean, we're getting good L frame rates on that, you know? I still think a sim reinstall is on me cards at some stage, you know? But we'll wait and see what happens. Right. We've briefed the weather. We've had a look at the missed approach. We're expecting a non-standard departure, i.e. we'll get radar vectors to our approach or to our fix. We'll also get vectors for our final approach into Denver. Cruising altitude looks good. Weather on the way, we're going to be battling a crosswind. I don't know what else we need to worry about until it all happens. So lads, in about 5 hours and 21 minutes time, we shall be doing this flight. We're back on tonight at 2000 Zulu time, right here. We're going to be on Twitch and on YouTube. So until then, I'm going to go off now and have some lunch, pick up the missus, and I have to do something else. I have to put door handles on. So that's all ahead of me. So I want to thank you all so very much indeed for tuning in. We did some Navigraph this morning, and now we are briefed for our VATSIM flight this evening. So if you'd like to come along flying with us this evening on VATSIM, you are more than welcome. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you all later. So guys, thank you all so very, very much indeed. Have a great day, and we'll see you in a few hours. I rarely use this word when it comes to flight sim add-ons. I reserve it only for the special kind. But like, there's no point saying anything other than this is shite. It's shite. Like, and is Mike Roch in the chat? Mike Roch? That's brilliant. Hey everybody, is there a Mike Roch here? Is Mike Roch here?
Hello.
Ready, listen, give up. I'm a little teapot, short
Dreamy, sleepy,
and
nighty,
stout.
snoozy, snooze.
Here is me handle, and here is me spout. When I get all steamed up, hear me shout. Just tip me over and pour me out. Ah, Jesus! Oh, stop! You see?
Do you need a hand?
No, I don't need a... Do I need a hand?
It's heavy, yeah. Jesus, Murph!